What a show we have planned for you today. We're going to talk about a little update on our fantasy football league, the Fellowship of the Fantasy Ring, and we're going to give you some trade targets going into week 9. Maybe some trade targets that are going to help you win your championships. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, we'll get into it. Let's get straight to the episode.
Welcome to the FantasyLand Football Podcast.
Yes, sir.
It's huge, boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Oh, boy.
It's FantasyLand here. Welcome into the podcast.
What up?
It's Zach and it's Badaki, and we're ready to bring you a great show today. It is Wednesday, the 4th of November.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Woke up feeling dangerous. Thought the trade deadline was going to bring us some exciting news. Something to be excited about. But to be honest, I was more excited about my lunch than I was about this trade deadline.
Absolutely.
Here's the things you need to know.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. Nothing.
Take that in.
Nothing.
You know, take a couple minutes to process that. There was nothing really that happened on the trade deadline. Nothing worth noting, was there?
No, absolutely nothing. I mean, a lot of defensive moves, maybe 2 defensive moves. Avery Williams went to the Steelers and little things like that. Nothing crazy, you know. But we'll get to
nothing crazy.
Yeah, we'll get to that in the need to know news, you know.
Yep. Waivers show was yesterday. Hopefully you had a chance to pick out your waivers for the transactions last night. We're excited. Let's get into news.
What is going on here?
What is going on in the National Football League?
Wow.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's give you the need to know news. Bye weeks, Badaki. We're in the thick of things here with bye weeks. We've got the Eagles, the Rams, the Browns, and the Bengals. Lots of fantasy relevant players.
Yeah.
You're going to have to adjust accordingly.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp, Roberto Woods, Nick Chubb, Tyler Boyd, Joe Burrow. I mean, there's a Giovanni Bernard. There's a lot
Kareem
of
Hunt.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt. Who's on the Eagles?
Carson Wentz.
Travis
right?
Fulgham.
Right,
Yeah.
guys? Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Carson Wentz.
he is fantasy relevant. You're right.
Whoever started him last week, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Obviously, trade deadline was shocking. But there was one move that we do in all seriousness want to talk about. In all seriousness, want to talk about? Yes, English.
Yes.
Check. DeAndre Washington was traded to the Miami Dolphins and was a very confusing trade. Very confusing trade. Until about 20 minutes later, report came out. Just out of nowhere. Myles Gaskin. You thought he was healthy, right? I mean,
No,
you were like, yeah, Myles Gaskin's healthy. I'm about to start him this week.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Out of nowhere, Myles Gaskin ends up on the IR. Well, it's a short-term IR, sprained MCL. We're not sure, if he'll be on the IR or not, but he will miss 3 weeks.
Yeah.
This is really frustrating. Very frustrating.
It is very frustrating. I mean, when you heard the news, you just sighed. Literally, as we're about to record this podcast, the news comes out, and then you have him in a couple leagues, and you were just completely disappointed, deflated.
I was deflated, and my friend Badaki here was very supportive, laughing at me.
I was buzzing.
And trying to take advantage of me in the trade market. Don't let someone take advantage of you in the trade market.
Honestly, to be honest, the only reason why I was buzzing was because I'm playing Myles Gaskin this week. I mean, I'm the number 1 technically seed, and I'm playing the number 2 seed this week in our league, which we'll get into more. But he has Myles Gaskin, and he is going to be out, and he has no other running backs, so I'm buzzing. And you're right, I was probably trying to take advantage, but oh well, that's fantasy, you know.
Yep. That is fantasy. All right, what's up? What else do we need to be talking about here?
So obviously Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon are officially out for Week 9 against the 49ers on Thursday Night Football, which is, A.J. Dillon wasn't a surprise because we heard about his COVID news on, I think, Monday. Yeah. But the biggest concern was Jamal Williams and if he was going to be okay to play, but he has officially been ruled out for Thursday night's game. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Jones' status is still in question. He was seen at practice. He was seen doing very minuscule things, nothing crazy. Maybe his presence was there for some reason, but I don't think he was actually practicing.
Yeah.
But look, I think the big talk of the town right now is if Jones is a no-go, who's the next guy up? And
who is the guy?
Yeah, nobody knows who these guys are. And we have two names, Tyler Ervin and Dexter Williams, running backs. Honestly, I've never even heard of these guys. I had to do a little bit more research on these guys.
Can I tell you who I want it to be? I want it to be Dexter Williams. And there's a lot of analysis behind this. Mainly being, I just like the name Dexter. I just think that's a really fun name. I feel like if he was fantasy relevant, it could be fun. Tyler Irving, sure, that's a fun name.
Sure.
But Dexter, I just think of Dexter's Laboratory as a kid watching Dexter's Lab.
Yeah.
There's no analysis there, but I hope Dexter's the guy. Jordan Reed was practicing Tuesday.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll find out if he was practicing today again. He was limited. Hopefully today or tomorrow he gets in a full practice. Or not tomorrow, sorry, because tomorrow's Thursday Night Football. We will find out soon if he will be playing in this game or not. If he does, it's a good stream, I believe. And let's talk about the quarterback situation in Dallas. After one game, Ben DiNucci is officially gone. He's been benched.
Yeah, that's also another thing. Andy Dalton is confirmed out already for next week. He's been put on the COVID reserve list, which means maybe he's been in contact with someone that actually has COVID or he himself has COVID. We need to kind of wait and see how that goes. But yeah, sorry, who's the next guy up?
If I'm honest with you, I kind of think that they just they weren't ready to play him. No, they obviously he had COVID. That's just a really bad joke, and it wasn't funny at all. Let's move on. So the two guys who could potentially start instead of Ben DiNucci, because DiNucci is welcomed to the bench, and the two guys could be Garrett Gilbert.
Okay,
which is a great name.
Gary Gilbert.
Again, right now a lot of backups. We're just looking at their names, and Cooper Rush.
Oh,
Cooper Rush is a cool name.
Cooper Rush
That's like a pop star name.
Oh, yeah, Cooper Rush is he came out of college. He was a really good quarterback in college, bro. I remember Cooper Rush. I'm actually gonna look him up right now, bro.
I think the expectation for us is that Cooper's probably gonna get the start. Yeah. But Garrett Gilbert just sounds like a nice guy. Like imagine meeting a Garrett Gilbert. Hey Garrett, how you doing?
Garrett Gilbert. Good guy.
Obviously we don't know exactly who it's going to be. Most of these guys are from the practice squad, and that means not great news probably for any Cowboy wide receiver. It's looked bad, and I don't think it's going to start to look better.
Yeah, you're right. You get him off your team.
Yeah.
Even Zeke has been struggling tremendously. It's a massive disappointment.
Yeah. It has been a disappointment. I just think you need to be careful when you trade Zeke, though, because you're going to get a lot of low offers. No one's going to give you value for him.
Yeah.
So you might not be able to trade Zeke. You might have to hold on to him and hope for better days. That is most of the news. We want to get into Thursday Night Football matchups, but first we want to tell you a little bit about RSA. We believe RSA is the go-to for all things sports memorabilia.
That's right.
That's why they help us with our monthly giveaways for signed jerseys. But did you know that most signed sports memorabilia companies don't actually work directly with the athletes? Did you know that?
Nope. Didn't know. Do know, actually.
Now you know.
Just playing a part.
Yeah, you are the audience, so great acting. Okay, so you don't know. Well, most third-party companies do not work directly with the athletes. But RSA works directly with the athletes so they can get the best deals in the industry in bulk. RSA is also the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor and promises a money-back guarantee on all products. Head to shoprsa.com for all your signed sports memorabilia needs.
Are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some football?
All right, are you ready for some Thursday night football? Packers
boy.
at 49ers. This is a big game. This is the kind of Thursday night football game we want.
Is it a big game? Not now. Now is it a big game?
I still like it. I would rather see this than the NFC East game, and I am a Washington fan. So, I'm more happy with this one than before.
Yeah, fair. Look, there's a lot of talent on both sides of the team here. Obviously, Packers at 49ers. Over-under is 50 for this one. Packers side of the ball, obviously, we kind of spoke about all the running back situations there. Jamal Williams out, A.J. Dillon out, Aaron Jones, is he going to play? Dexter Williams, Tyler Irving, all these running backs are all in questions. But the guys that you're starting for sure, Detective Adams, Aaron Rodgers, maybe Tanyan. I think Tanyan can be a good addition to the team this week, purely because this running back situation is still in question.
Tanyan's quietly been decent.
Yeah,
not 2 weeks ago, but he's a decent stream if you need him, and I think there's going to be weeks where he does do really well. And there's going to be weeks where he only puts up 5 points, and you're going to have to live with that. This running back situation reminds me a little bit of Seattle last week. Lots of unknowns, lots of uncertainty.
Right.
Will this player play? Who's it going to be? Do I pick up this player? Do I pick up that player? And I think it's going to be a similar situation. We might not know
we don't
until
know.
Kickoff who it is, honestly.
Yeah, it's so rough. It's so rough to say because I know maybe a lot of people are Aaron Jones owners. Obviously, he's out. And then you picked up Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is out. So, who's your next guy up? We actually can't really tell you. We don't know who this person is. So play it by ear. We're going to try to...
Dexter Williams.
According to Zach, it's Dexter Williams. I really don't know.
I don't know. I hope it is.
Yeah, look, and once we find out, you will find out. So make sure you stay tuned to our social media. Also, before we move on, Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
He is also coming off of IR. I think he can also play a major part. He's obviously the better wide receiver in that wide receiver room underneath Devontae Adams. So make sure, I don't know if you start him this week. I think he could be a good option, but test the waters, see how he's going. He's trending well towards the game. But let's continue to the 49ers here.
Yep.
Literally, the only thing we have is there's no one on this team fantasy related anymore. Really?
I mean, there is. It's just uncertainty everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty.
That's what's scary, right? I think Ayuk, it's not a really good matchup because Debo's out, Kittle's out. So who are the Green Bay Packers going to be focusing on in this game?
Right.
Probably Brandon Ayuk. And I don't know if you know this, but the Packers have a really great secondary. They cannot stop the run to save their life, but they have a really good secondary.
Right.
So I'm kind of fading Ayuk this week, and I know it's hard because he had a great game last week, although that was very much attributed to garbage time. We're not playing Ayuk for us.
Yeah.
Are we?
No, I'm not playing Ayuk. I'm actually still on the fence if Ayuk is not somebody that I'm wanting to start every week unless I have a bye, there's a bye situation. But yeah, you're right. I'm not starting Brandon Ayuk or either of these running backs personally.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. Jerick McKinnon and JaMychal Hasty. Oh, my goodness. If you started Tevin Coleman last week, I'm sorry. What more can you say?
The GG's, boys. Thanks for playing.
It's frustrating. He looked like he was going to have a really big workload.
Yep.
And then he had that knee injury. And, oh, my gosh. Is there anything that you've heard more this year other than COVID and 49er running backs injuries?
No.
But here's the deal. The Packers are terrible against the run.
Yes.
So there will be a good start here.
We just don't know.
Is it Jerick McKinnon? Is it JaMychal Hasty? We don't know how to answer that question. But if you're in a desperation mode for a flex, like me, I just lost Myles Gaskin. I might have to start Jerick McKinnon. I might have to.
Right. I'm on the other side there. I'm starting Jermichael Hasty if I am a 49ers owner personally, because I believe that he could be the better back.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran well against Seattle. I don't know if whoever watched that game, if you go back and watch the tape, he was running strong, he was running hard. Jermichael Hastings is a good running back, and I think he is the better back for goal line carries personally.
Yeah.
So I think it's up in the fence. Maybe it could be both. Obviously, Jerick McKinnon is the more experienced. He's been here for a while, but Jermichael Hastings could be this guy that takes over this role and this lead in the backfield.
Yeah, what we do know is that McKinnon did lead all backs in snaps on Sunday, but he also didn't really do anything in the rushing game. He had a touchdown, but he finished with -1 rushing yards, and he had 40 receiving yards.
Classic.
So PPR-wise, I'm probably leaning McKinnon because of the pass-catching ability. Okay. If it's a half PPR or a standard, I am leaning Hasty because he does have the work there on the ground, and it looks like they want him to be that guy. But regardless, it's a tough situation.
Yeah.
I think we have the Packers winning this, and it's probably not going to be close, right?
Yeah, it will be really interesting to see how Mullings, is it Brett Mullings? I forgot his first name.
Yeah, I believe it is Mullins. Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins, there you go. I actually think he's a good quarterback, and when he played against us, the Giants, he did pretty well. Obviously, we're not the best team, but he's playing a better secondary compared to us. But
yeah, for sure. Well, what's funny is Mullins played one quarter of football against Seattle, and he finished with 22 fantasy points.
Say no more. Look,
so
the opportunity is there. I think he can ball out low key.
Don't start him this week.
No,
but there could be matchups.
It could be a game.
Hey, obviously you know George Kittle is injured. He could be out for the rest of the season, but you could still win a signed George Kittle jersey.
That's right.
Okay, that's right. So it's not all bad just yet. 2020. Hey, no, seriously. RSA, our partner, has provided the giveaway for us, the signed George Kittle jersey. Follow us on Instagram at FantasyLand Football to make sure that you are entered. We are announcing the winner tomorrow on Thursday Night Football. Follow us on Twitter at FantasyLand FB for every update that you want fantasy-wise. You can watch the pod on YouTube and see our beautiful faces. If you want to do that, subscribe and hit the notifications. And you can listen to virtually any podcast platform in the world if you prefer to do it that way. But it's time to give you an update on our fantasy football league.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
What's better than this? Let's talk about the guys in our fantasy football league. The Fellowship of the Fantasy Ring,
Huge.
or the Ring, we like to call it for short. This is our fantasy football league that we like to cover on our page. We cover it every Wednesday. You can head to our Instagram at FantasyLand Football, like we said, and there's a little story highlight that says our league. You can look at player profiles for every single individual. Really great guys that we like to play with. Very entertaining. We are going to be posting a Week 8 recap on our Instagram TV here soon. We won't have it today. Honestly, the guys are busy, and they just weren't able to send us videos. Yeah. So if you want that on the pod, like we normally have, you got to be in the comments. Hey,
that's right. Make sure you get on their backs and make sure that they send the video. No excuses. You have to be better.
Send it through. Okay, let's talk about the league though. Let's talk about it. Highest scorer of the week. Last week it was yours truly, myself, and this week it was Daniel Badaki. Okay, Badaki.
Back to back. 180
put up
plus.
180 points. Yeah, it was back to back 180 point performances from the co-hosts. Which is, hey, we'll take it. We'll take what we can get.
Yeah,
you had Patty.
You do what you do.
You had Dalvin.
That's right.
You had Dallas, DJ Dallas.
That's
you
right.
had Zach Moss.
Say it again.
Great lineup. Great lineup. I said Patty, Dalvin Cook, DJ Dallas, and Zach Moss. 180 bomb. How'd you feel about the week? Obviously great.
Yeah, it felt great. my biggest takeaway from this was Zach Moss. I literally minutes before the lineup, I actually almost started Rashad Higgins, and I don't know why. I had a feeling about Rashad Higgins, and I was like, nah, no way.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the game.
Trust your gut.
Yeah, I looked at the game preview. It was snowing and sleeting in the Cleveland Raiders game, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And it was windy at the
said,
Buffalo
ooh.
New England game, and I was like, ooh. And I was like,
Oh,
Josh Allen is not throwing that ball, and they're gonna give the ball to Zach Moss. So, weather plays a huge factor of who to start and sit.
yeah.
By the way, I don't think we've ever said that on the show, but that's something that I look at every week before each and every game.
For sure, and I think we could see that in Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen as well. Some examples for you.
Yeah.
Lowest score of the week was Samuel Green.
The GG's, boys. Thanks for playing.
GG's, boys. Thanks for playing. Sam,
GG's.
What happened with Sam? Just wasn't good enough, was it?
Just not good enough from Sammy G here. I mean, 72 points. Gosh, it's actually terrible. Now, look, I personally think his downfall, actually, which is kind of crazy, was that trade with me. I traded Chris Carson. I traded Ezekiel Elliott for Chris Carson, and I think that was probably the best move I made so far in the year. I traded Zeke away 2 weeks ago now. So, yeah. I mean, he'll bounce back.
Unlucky.
He'll bounce
Yeah.
back.
It is what it is. Okay, let's give you a little update. Let's talk about playoff picture.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me?
Yes.
Playoffs?
Yes. We're going to talk about playoffs, okay? The top 6 in our league make the playoffs. So, there is lots of opportunity to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the top 6 here. Badaki currently sits number 1 seed. Joe is not far behind, though. Badaki is 7-1 now, and Joe is 6-2.
That's right. This is
You guys are playing each other this week.
Yep, this is the week that we're playing each other, so the whole thing can shift. If Joe wins, he moves up, and if I lose, I go down. So it really matters this week, and that's why I think I was buzzing earlier, because Myles Gaskin is out. Joe has Myles Gaskin, and that's prime. Like, he doesn't really have anyone else on his bench. Obviously, we'll put out updates on everyone's team after week 9, but the only person he has on his bench is J.D. McKissick as another running back. So
yeah,
who knows?
And you'll be able to see Brandon Baca. Give me a second. Let's talk about Brandon Baca.
Yeah.
Brandon Baca won his week, and he put up 79 fantasy points. 79 fantasy points got Brandon a win this week.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be able. You'll be able to look at our Instagram at this point and see the matchups and see the wins and losses. Go have a look. Brandon Baca's team consisted of Latavius Murray, Ronald Jones, Jonnu Smith, Amari Cooper. The Titans defense who got negative points, and he won his week. This is why I've been saying for a long time that I believe the simple win-loss each week is a faulted system. And I know I say it too much to the guys in our league. They don't want to change, but I think it's a faulted system. How I would love every league to work is each week you get a win or loss based off your matchup, and then you get a win or loss based on if you were in the top or the bottom half of scoring on the week. I think it's the fairest way to assess a team, because you have people like last year. Elijah Burns was in a league. He's in our league. And he had scored tons of points, but he had tons of points scored against him. Started the season 0-6. In that format, he would have started the season 6-6. I know this is a little bit of a rant, but how is Brandon Baca winning with 79 points?
Look, he's just getting lucky. I mean, that's all I can say. I think I would like to test out your theory and see how that works, maybe in a different league. But I think I like it in the format as if I'm in the NFL. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Because the Chiefs can be putting up all the points in the league, and they still lose. It doesn't change the record. They still lost. I guess that's my thought process. But it could be different.
I guess I'm salty because I lost this week, and I had a pretty decent week, and I would have beaten most people except for maybe 2 or 3 people this week if I had matchup.
Yeah.
But that's me at 4th. 5th, Steve is there hanging on. Stavi's hanging on somehow.
Just classic.
And in 6th, we've got Sam. He rolled off 4 straight wins.
Yeah.
And now he's finally taken another L. Disappointing loss for him against Brandon Baca.
Yeah, disappointing loss. I mean, he's still in the playoff picture. He has to win this week. I'm not really sure who is he playing. Let me check it really fast. I'll tell you who Sam is playing this week. But Sam is actually playing JB, which is good.
Okay.
JB struggling right now, obviously.
Both teams at 4-4.
Yeah, both teams are 4-4. So I mean, if he loses or wins, it doesn't affect it that much. He kind of still stays in that 6, 7, 8, 9 area. But let's move on. Just outside the playoffs, Jordan Westfield.
Yep. Let's talk outside the playoff bubble.
Yeah. Look, sitting at number 7, Jordan Westfield, like I said, I mean, he's a guy that you just hate losing to because he knows absolutely nothing about football. He is just getting lucky. And, you know, Wesley, if you hear this, you're not good.
Wow, trash talk. All right. At number 8, JB. Big old Kenny G let him down this week. Number 9, Tommy, your boy Bricks Buckley. The connection, the stack of Aaron Rodgers and Detective Adams worked for him this week.
That's right.
I was playing Tommy, and unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers decided no one else was going to score a touchdown this week except for Devontae Adams. He said, absolutely no one else I'm going to even look at except for Devontae Adams. And unfortunately, that in turn basically 70-plus points from 2 players for Tommy and destroyed my week.
That's right.
Elijah sitting at 10th. And look, you have an opinion on this?
I have an opinion, Eliza. I believe your downfall right now is that you're not trading. And please send me a trade offer. I would love to trade with you. There's a lot of people I love on your team. I'm looking at your team right now. Darren Waller, I would love to have. You know, maybe I'll take Mike Williams off your hands on the low. Roberto Woods on the low. Daniel Ilioy. I mean, I think he has about like a 6% chance of making the playoffs at this point. He's sitting at the 11th spot right now. He's had a lot of
injuries.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Luke, season's over, brother. Sitting at 12.
Luke, sitting at 12. What more can we say?
The GG's, boys. Thanks for playing.
Thanks for playing. Probably your season's over, but never give up. Never lose hope. Hey, if you guys want to support the show, if you love the content that we bring, if we've helped you in fantasy, or you just like listening to us, you can actually support us now through Patreon. Patreon.com/FantasyLandFam. Patreon is simply a way for you to support the show, to say, I believe in those guys. And our dream is to continually make great fantasy football content for you, the Fantasyland fam. So if you'd like to be a part of that community, go ahead and head over to patreon.com/FantasyLandFam. We appreciate it so much, even if you want to consider that. And it would just be so appreciated. We love every single person who has decided to support us in that way. And can't thank you guys enough for doing that. Let's talk about trade targets here.
To trade this dude and don't even get a first-round pick, it's damn near a fireable offense. Clearly because of emotion, because it makes no football sense whatsoever.
Let's talk about it. Trade targets. I think that's actually my favorite drop. I think it's slowly become my favorite drop.
Clearly
because of emotion. All right, let's talk about it. We got some trade targets for you week 9. We've got 2 each trade fours and 2 each trade away targets. Okay. We have told you to trade for Devontae Adams when things didn't look good. We told you to trade for Tyler Lockett when things didn't look good. We've definitely hit some, okay? We like to hit more than we miss. So, Badaki, start us off with some trade for targets.
That's right. Look, my number one target right now is actually tight ends. This is going to be a tight end day for me personally. Mark Andrews, look, he had back-to-back games. You know, he had a game right before the bye week against Philly. He only had 4 points bye week. And then he came back against Pittsburgh, which is a tough defense, with 6 points. Look, let's be honest, he's still a top tight end. And I think it's just a buy low scenario. You know, get him on the low. You know, sell somebody that I'm not really sure who you can really be selling. It really depends on your team. But I'm personally trying to get Mark Andrews right now because I think his schedule is better down the road Indy, New England, Tennessee. Obviously, he plays Pittsburgh again, and then he has Dallas, Jacksonville, New York. Like, these are all playoff, around the playoff area. If you're trying to make the playoffs, I think Mark Andrews is a good trade for target.
Interesting. I know that you think Lamar Jackson's been found out this year. So, how does that work in that scenario?
I personally think that Lamar Jackson has been found out in the sense of he has been discombobulated in so many ways. And I think if you look at his games, in my opinion is that he's been found out, but he's been found out in the sense of that he's not going to be he's been running the way he has, but he hasn't ran the way he's been running, if that makes any sense. I kind of just contradicted myself there.
That actually does. I'm going to be honest with that. That did not make any sense.
I believe that Lamar doesn't have what it takes to win in the playoffs.
Okay.
That if
All
it's short term, short sentence, that's what I believe.
Discombobulated. Just want to highlight the fact that you use that word.
Yeah.
Props to you. All right. My trade for target is Justin Jefferson. If you've listened to the pod for more than 3 weeks, you probably know how much I like Justin Jefferson. Okay. He currently sits as a wide receiver 22. And that is because of the boom bust potential that he holds. Because 1 week he could pop for 30. The next week he could pop for 5. Both pops, one you want, one you don't. Okay? Now this might sound crazy, but he's wide receiver 22. I can promise you that the Justin Jefferson owner is probably not fully convinced on him yet.
Right.
I don't think Justin Jefferson is a piece that players are just like, I'm not moving him. I'm sorry. Let's talk about someone else.
Yeah.
I think there is flexibility with Justin Jefferson. Now, the Green Bay game last week was mainly determined by weather, which the weather was terrible, and Dalvin Cook. Okay? I don't know why you'd be throwing the ball in that weather and watching Dalvin Cook dominate. They just didn't need to. Kirk Cousins threw 14 passes. He threw 14 passes, okay?
Yeah.
For me, Justin Jefferson is a guy I'm looking to buy low on. I don't believe that Dalvin's going to have 35 touches a game. He's going to be more around the 20 to 23 touches per game type player that he's normally been. And there will be more opportunities for Justin Jefferson to be relevant in this offense. Here's some players that I would be okay losing for Justin Jefferson. I'd rather have Justin Jefferson than Deontay Johnson, Kenny Golladay, Mike Evans. Hopefully that helps you make a decision going forward. But for me, I would rather have JJ than all three of those guys. I saw your face. You weren't happy about it. Tell me what's wrong.
I'm just surprised. I wasn't expecting that. I would rather have Kenny G and Mike Evans over Justin Jefferson, purely because they are a run first team. Dalvin Cook is the main piece of that offense in my vision. So there's no running back stability in Detroit or at Tampa anymore, my personal opinion. And I can probably argue for Deontay having, being on the better team, the better offense. They throw the ball a little bit more. I don't know. I'm on the other side. I think I would be trying. I mean, you can't really trade away Justin Jefferson right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my thought
here's
process.
The thing. Deontay Johnson, I've said this before. You've said this before. The Steelers' wide receiver core is not something you want to consistently be starting.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Why is that? Because there's 3 wide receivers, including actually 4 if you include Eric Ebron. Who's going to be the guy each week? We don't know. Their identity is run and defense. What's the difference in Minnesota? They want to run the ball, but their defense is not good. They will need to throw the ball. Kenny Golladay has been dealing with injuries, and I just personally would rather have JJ in the upside each week than Kenny Golladay potentially upsetting me each week. Mike Evans, is he the wide receiver 3 when this team is all healthy? Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown,
right?
Mike Evans,
we'll see.
Rob Gronkowski. Look, the way I look at Justin Jefferson is I see him and Adam Thielen as a wide receiver 1A and 1B. And I just think that the situation is actually better with Justin Jefferson than these guys. As you know, me and Badaki don't always agree, but you got to take this knowledge and make a move if you'd like to or not.
That's right. Look, I'm interested to see how it plays out for the rest of the season. My guy, once again, like I said, it's a tight end day for me. TJ Hockenson, we gave you a nice little preview of this last in the waiver wire podcast. Look, he's currently tight end number 4, okay? And obviously with Kenny G out, I believe that his production will go up a lot. He was targeted, I think, 10 times last game. He played the Indianapolis Colts, which was, which is really good. He was 7 for 65. He had 13 fantasy points. Okay, let me tell you the next 3 games he's actually playing, and who he's playing against, which I believe it's crazy. He's playing the Vikings, terrible defense, like we just said. The Washington football team, terrible defense, like we said.
Careful.
Yep.
Careful.
And the Carolina Panthers, which has a fairly decent defense, but I still believe that Matthew Stafford and this offense can definitely have a little shootout with them. So I believe TJ Hockenson is I personally, if we had to prioritize him, TJ Hockenson, Mark Andrews, rest of the season, personally, obviously Mark Andrews has a better quarterback. TJ Hockenson has more of an opportunity to get the ball, which sounds ridiculous because Mark Andrews is the only weapon on the Baltimore team, the Ravens team. So I don't know. Look, it doesn't look promising now looking at it. TJ Hawkinson's playoff picture, Chicago, Green Bay, Tennessee. It's Chicago, Green Bay, Tennessee. 14-15. Green Bay, Tennessee, Tampa Bay.
I think I lean Mark Andrews rest of season.
We'll see.
Mark
Andrews is tight end 7.
These are both great guys. The issue is with TJ is that you can't trade for him low. You just cannot. There's not a trade low option right now. So you would be you'd have to be giving up some value. But I get the it's the same. I get where you're coming from.
It's the same with Mark though. If you give up value, like how much value do you want to give up? You're giving up an extreme amount of value for Mark Andrews purely because of his
Mark
name.
Andrews, his name is not carrying him right now. Just like Lamar Jackson's name is not carrying him right now. People see the stats,
right,
and they're confused.
And I don't think that TJ Hockenson name carries him at all.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But again, you got to use this information however you'd like to. Let's give our last trade for target, which is Nick Chubb.
Nicky.
That's right, Nick Chubb.
Wow.
Okay, here's the deal with Nick Chubb. He could return after the Week 9 bye. He could return. Mm-hmm. Nothing is promised here. And I believe that's how you actually acquire him. Okay? Now, to be clear, if you are in a situation where you find yourself at 2-6, at 3-5, maybe at 4-4, this might not be the move for you. If you're in a place where you can make a move and acquire a guy like Nick Chubb, let's not forget the star that Nick Chubb is. Don't forget what the offense looked like when Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were just dominating that backfield. Okay? I believe he could be a league winner if you get him on the low. Everyone needs a starting running back. Why not trade for him now if you have the opportunity to and wait for him to be that guy again? Now, there is risk in this trade, as there is risk in every trade, but Nick Chubb is the guy I'm targeting. Let's look at some guys that you might be able to potentially package in deals to get a Nick Chubb. Let me ask you, let's play a little fun game here, okay?
Okay.
Nick Chubb or Melvin Gordon?
Oh, man, that's hard. Purely because I want to believe in Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb or Le'Veon Bell?
Bell. Sorry. Whoa,
really?
No, Chubb. Sorry. Whoa.
Okay. Nick Chubb or Kenyan Drake rest of season? Take your bias out of it. I know you have him.
Nah, Chubb.
Okay, Nick Chubb or Austin Eckler rest of season?
Oh, Austin Eckler, if he comes back, hopefully.
Okay. Well, I would rather have Nick Chubb than any of the names there, and I believe that those names could carry value packaged with another player to potentially get you Nick Chubb. Those are our trade for targets on the week. We're going to give you trade away targets like we always do. This is sometimes controversial, but if you listen to the pod like we tell you to, then you'll probably understand where we're coming from. Now, like we always say, and we always have to say, it's a disclaimer, we are never telling you to give everything away for a player we're telling you to get.
Right.
When we tell you to trade away a player, we're also never telling you to just give them away for nothing. Get value back. But let's talk about it. My first trade away target is Todd Gurley. Zach, no one in the NFL has scored more touchdowns than Todd Gurley.
You
as
crazy.
a running back, sorry.
You kidding me?
Todd Gurley is currently the RB7. What the hell is wrong with me? Actually, what can you tell me what's wrong with me?
You're crazy. There's something wrong with you.
All right. Look, here's the deal. For me, it's time to cash in. It's time to cash in on Todd Gurley. Don't trade him away for nothing, but get more of a solidified running back on your roster. Now, here's the deal. I know when Todd Gurley was missing snaps on Thursday Night Football, a lot of you guys who owned him were frustrated. What the heck? Why is Todd sitting out? Why is Todd not in the game? Can I be honest with you? Reality check, you don't want to hear it, but you've actually got no right to be upset by watching Todd Gurley on the sidelines because you know he has arthritis in his knees. Here's the deal. For me, it's if you see Gurley on the sideline, you can't be upset. You actually cannot be upset. You knew this could happen.
Right.
Anyway, let's talk about it. For me, it's a risk aversion move.
Right.
I want to avoid any risk this year. I want to avoid the injury. I want to avoid the random report that comes out saying Todd Gurley will be out a couple weeks trying to manage his knees. For me, if you look at his rest of season schedule as well, there's really only one matchup you like for Todd Gurley. I personally am fading Todd Gurley, and I'd be looking to trade him away, cashing high on the value.
Wow. Todd Gurley. Get him off your team. You hear that, Joe? You got to make a trade, brother. Just a little background of that. You know, Joe on our fantasy league has Todd Gurley, which I'm playing against. Anyways, my guy, I'm pretty sure he was on the list before, but I'm doing it again, is Ronald Jones. And look, he didn't look too well Monday Night Football, okay? We all saw that. He had that fumble. No. And then they took him out the game, so that probably played a huge part of it. Just a little disclaimer before we continue. Look, 7 carries, 23 yards, 4 catches, 23 yards. He only had 6 fantasy points against the Giants. But you know who had 15 carries? Leonard Fournette. And Leonard Fournette looked a lot better than Ronald Jones, okay? It looks like they're going to be splitting the carries for the rest of the season if Leonard Fournette stays healthy. And this is just purely for you guys to understand where I'm coming from. This is the time that you shop Ronald Jones. And maybe it's not the best time. Maybe you already traded him away, which is great. Maybe you still have Ronald Jones. And you are concerned after that game because you probably expected him to go off against this Giants defense that are quote-unquote terrible. Not according to me, because I'm a Giants fan. I could be a little biased there. But anyways, look, I think this is a good question after your trade away. Ronald Jones or Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley.
Ronald Jones, Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
Ronald Jones, Monty. David Montgomery.
David Montgomery.
Okay.
Yes.
See? So there's a lot of understanding there. I want you to take that, understand that, take it in, soak it in. I'll be trading away Ronald Jones as soon as possible because I don't believe that he is going to be having the same production that he has had for the past, 4 or 5 games since Leonard Fournette has been away.
For sure. And if he was that 3 down back, there'd be so much value. But he's not really that 3rd down back with the pass catching ability.
Nope.
I agree. I would not want Ronald Jones or Fournette on my team. All right. My last trade away target, Devin Singletary. If you drafted him this year, you're probably disappointed. He had a lot of opportunities when Zach Moss wasn't healthy. Zach Moss looks to be back. He looks to be the more talented running back.
Oh, boy.
And Devin Singletary has been very inefficient with his play. He's not really been an efficient player. Had a decent game last Sunday. But if you look at his game logs before that, he's not really been an efficient player. What I expect is for Zach Moss to start getting a little bit more touches. I think it is a split backfield.
Yeah.
But let's look at the upcoming schedule. They have Seattle and Arizona coming up. So those are pretty decent matchups. But after that, let's look at week 13 to 15, right in the heart of playoffs. He faces San Francisco, number 1 against running backs. Pittsburgh, number 2 against running backs. Denver, number 9 against running backs. I don't know about you. I don't really want Zach Moss or Devin Singletary on my team when the playoffs come. I'm looking to trade away Devin because people might not realize that Zach Moss is looking to take that job.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I think if you heard the waiver wires last week, Zach Moss was on the waiver wires and he was a top priority for me. I believe he's a better back there. You're right. Trade away Devin Singletary. And the last one here, trade away targets and trade for targets of the week, Justin Jackson. And wow, because, I love Joshua Kelly, and Joshua Kelly, if you haven't noticed, I haven't been talking about him. He's let me down for a couple weeks. And, the amazing talent. Amazing talent. Anyways, Justin Jackson, this is a...
No comment.
No comment. This is a classic sell high scenario. Look, he had 17 points last game against the number 9 run defense against the Denver Broncos. And I think, 1, that's tremendous. 2, that's how you sell it. Okay? When you go up to somebody, you sell Justin Jackson. If he's putting up 15 plus points against the number 9 run defense, I mean, the sky's the limit. I think this is I think you guys should be shopping around for to see who you can get for Justin Jackson. Maybe you like Rojo than Justin Jackson. Yeah. Maybe somebody doesn't believe in Todd, like Todd or Justin Jackson.
Todd for sure. Yeah, and I think I'd take Rojo over Justin Jackson as well.
Yeah, so maybe test the waters out, test the market, see how you go. I personally believe that this is limited because there's a lot of talks. Obviously, there's a lot of talks that Austin Eckler is not going to return anytime soon. But my prediction is that Austin Eckler, 1, is a tough guy, and if he is like the Iron Man of this Chargers offense. They always talk about him. They always talk about him how like he's a tough guy. He's gonna come back. Blah blah blah. So I think he'll probably return around week 12, right before the playoffs, and then Justin Jackson's value will go down, and you might have to let him go. So
yeah, I think this is for me the riskiest trade of them all so far, and the reason being is Eckler's not looking good to come back. It looks like it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah,
and if the Chargers find themselves not even close to the playoffs, will they even worry about getting Eckler back? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And
who knows?
If Justin Jackson is a starting running back for the rest of the year, this could be a very risky trade. So just proceed with a lot of caution.
Yeah, I believe so.
Just make sure that you're getting actual value back for him. I think this is one of those guys you actually do need to make sure that there's proper value in return.
Say no more. Well, that's all I trade for. Trade away targets. Obviously, we love to give you a risk taker every time.
Oh, risk taker. Okay. We like to take a risk.
Yeah, exactly. We love risk. And look, this is a big one. I think this is just as big as, the Justin Jackson. And I picked this one out myself personally. And I know you're probably going to say, this guy's terrible, and you're right. He's bad.
Just say the name. Just say the name.
Kenyan Drake. That's my guy. I think
you're trash, kid.
I believe.
Say it again.
Kenyan Drake.
You're trash, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I believe that Kenyan Drake has a good opportunity to come back. I don't think he's going. Obviously, his return's uncertain. There was a lot of talk that he was going to come back after this bye week, but obviously they said, you know what? We heard this, uneducated quote from Cliff Kingsbury, saying that it's not as bad as we think, but it's bad as we think type vibe.
Yeah.
My prediction, he returns week 11 versus Seattle, who gives up a lot of points to running backs, and that can be the turning point for your season. Kenyan Drake. I actually traded for Kenyan Drake because I believe that he is going to come back and he's going to be that workhorse again, hopefully. But once again, if this is a risk, take it with a grain of salt. test the waters out, and maybe you could be in the position to get Kenyan Drake.
To say this is a risk taker is an understatement. I think this is one of my least risk takers we've ever done.
A sabotage.
Because, yeah, I just don't know what you're going to be giving up for Kenyan Drake. What is the person going to be giving you back? I don't know.
I think it's a good question. Justin Jackson or Kenyan Drake, and I think that's fair because if Austin Eckler does come back and Justin Jackson is irrelevant, Kenyan Drake, is coming back.
That's fair. I think Edmonds is the better back there. So personally, I'd be going Justin Jackson. But I get it.
That's crazy. That's crazy to say as well. That's so crazy to say.
Yeah.
So, coming from knowing from what we've done in the beginning of the season until now, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. I think the name, it just brings a lot of hurt, a lot of shame, a lot of frustration. Kenyan Drake.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Hey, thank you so much for listening into the show today, Fantasyland fam. We love you. Do not miss our next episode, Week 9 start, sit, advice, and Hail Mary matchups. Week 9 starter sit-ems. You want to make sure that you are tuning in for that one. Is that actually our next one? Yeah, it is.
That is our next one.
Yeah, wow. That happened so quick. Sorry. That just really surprised me. Out of nowhere. RKO Randy Orton. Okay. Now, the George Kittle jersey, we are giving that away tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Make sure you head to our Instagram at FantasyLand Football and sign up. Don't miss out on the opportunity to win a signed George Kittle jersey. And what else can people do? They can support us on the show through Patreon. Make sure that hopefully you voted yesterday. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you voted, right? Use your voice.
We will know the president soon, hopefully.
We will. I don't know how long it's going to take because all those mail-in ballots. This is the weirdest election ever. And
who knows?
I'm actually low-key, very, very low-key. I'm a little bit annoyed that there's no more debates. I kind of wish they did more because that was just very entertaining to watch. And I think we can all agree, no matter what you feel about the election, the very first debate was just gold to watch. Yeah. Not from the perspective of a healthy America, but from the perspective of an entertainment. And obviously, we love America. We want it to be healthy. But, hey, Badaki, one last thing we want to talk about before we go, hey.
Yeah. It's actually been in the works for a while. We're excited about this. Yep. And we're actually going to be streaming live for gaming. If you like any type of video games, we love to play video games. You hear us talking about, a lot of the boys, we're all around the world. The way we communicate is 1 through fantasy and 2 through video games. So I think we're going to be, we are working to start our either Twitch or YouTube, which will let you know where we're going to be streaming platform very soon in the next coming week. So stay tuned for that. Maybe should they follow the Instagram potentially?
No, not yet. But be on the lookout on our Instagram story. Be on the lookout. We're going to announce a couple things that are pretty exciting in the next week or so. If you like gaming, if you like watching us game, if you like the guys in our league, you'll have the opportunity to watch us. And I think it'll be pretty entertaining. We are different people when we game. And you'll be able to see that quite clearly. But thank you so much for listening into the show today, Fantasyland fam. We love you. Have a great Wednesday, and we will see you tomorrow. See you there.
See you there.
Hey, yeah, you, the one listening to this podcast. You made a good decision today. Keep making those good decisions. You know what? Go ahead and do a little dance right now, like no one's watching. 'Cause you deserve it.